Following a Chinese cyber attack aimed at the US government, Microsoft may soon find itself in hot water. A potent piece of Windows-born Chinese malware hidden in the basic infrastructure that supports the US military may interrupt communication systems, power grids, and water supplies at military locations throughout the world. According to one US congressional aide, it is a ticking time bomb that could give China the power to interrupt or slow American military deployments or resupply operations by cutting off power, water, and communications to US military bases. The ultimate impact, the newspaper notes, could be even worse because businesses and people use the same infrastructure. This isn't the first successful Chinese breach of Microsoft products aimed at critical US organizations. Another focuses on Outlook and the cloud and has been used to compromise the email accounts of US Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo and other State Department officials. The Storm 0558 hack, according to Microsoft, focuses on espionage, data theft, and credential access. These kind of government-targeted Microsoft product hacking has occurred in the past. However, the US government's approach this time may be different. Previously, the attacks had had little effect on the corporation. Now, Congress may look into it, and one prominent senator has already asked numerous federal agencies to look into Microsoft for breaking the law due to negligence. Email hacking in Outlook. The Chinese email attack did not target the US military, but rather government agencies that could harm or aid China's economy. Raimondo, the most powerful victim, runs the agency that has prohibited the transfer of US technologies that it alleges aid the Chinese military and are used to violate human rights. Semiconductor chips used in artificial intelligence and supercomputers are among the prohibited items. Beijing's leaders have slammed the embargo as a form of economic warfare. But, behind the scenes, it's been doing more than just whining. It has hacked not only Raimondo's account, but also the email accounts of a congressional staffer, a U.S. human rights advocate, and U.S. think tanks, according to the Washington Post. According to the FBI, no classified material was accessed or stolen, but it doesn't mean the breach isn't severe. Reading the private emails of Raimondo, State Department officials, and others might provide China with a wealth of inside information about the U.S.'s future dealings with China. According to Newsweek, former officials stated that the attack would have allowed Beijing to see into diplomats planning for a series of high-stakes visits to China in June and July by U.S. cabinet members, including Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Raimondo, and U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. The breach faked authentication tokens used by Outlook Web Access in Exchange Online, OWA, and Outlook.com, providing Chinese hackers access to officials' email accounts and calendar entries. However, officials in Western Europe were also targeted. The hack was found on June 16, about the time Blinken left for China. However, Charlie Bell, executive vice president of Microsoft Security, stated in a blog post that the breach was initiated on May 15 and has now been mitigated, that is, the hole has been closed. Military infrastructure is being targeted. The other intrusion, malware targeting military infrastructure, was detected in May when Microsoft discovered strange-looking code in Guam's telecommunication systems. The discovery alarmed U.S. officials since Guam has a port and a big airbase that would very certainly be deployed in any U.S. reaction to a Taiwan invasion or blockade. Microsoft blamed the attack on Volt Typhoon, a Chinese government-sponsored hacker outfit. The hackers took special care to conceal their activities and make the virus tougher to detect. They mixed hostile traffic with normal network activity by routing traffic through compromised small office and home office, SOHO, network equipment such as routers, firewalls, and VPN devices. To further avoid detection, they have been detected employing customized versions of open-source software to establish a command and control (C2) channel over proxy. According to the business, Microsoft assesses with moderate confidence that this Volt Typhoon campaign is pursuing development of capabilities that could disrupt critical communications infrastructure between the United States and Asia region during future crises. According to federal security officials, the cyber activity has been ongoing for at least a year. They also revealed that the breach was intended at targets other than Guam, such as crucial infrastructure and communication systems at military stations around the world. Because the attacks were so skillfully concealed, U.S. officials are unsure of the scope of the problem. It's serious enough that a series of meetings have taken place in the White House's issue room, and the Biden administration has briefed Congress, state governors, and utility corporations on the issue. Congress takes action. Congress has launched a probe, initially focusing on the email hack. It is investigating whether Microsoft shares responsibility for bad security practices in its multi-billion-dollar deal with the government, in addition to Chinese liability. That contract is now potentially in jeopardy. More than a half-dozen senators from both parties wrote to the State Department, demanding more details about the theft and suggestions for future Outlook security. As far as these things go, it was rather mild-mannered. But, to some extent, it was all a ruse. Senator Eric Schmidt, RMO, was the letter's main force, and he has Microsoft on his radar. Schmidt placed a clause into the yearly defense bill only a few weeks before the letter was written that requires Department of Defense CIO John Sherman to report to Congress on the risks and benefits of purchasing cybersecurity solutions from Microsoft. Schmidt and others are concerned that depending on a single vendor for so much software and security technologies exposes the U.S. to hackers and spies. Senator Ron Wyden, DOR, took it a step farther. He sent his own venomous letter to the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, Justice Department, and Federal Trade Commission, requesting that the government hold Microsoft accountable for its negligent cybersecurity practices. Wyden cited previous federal security failures, such as the SolarWinds hacking effort, that he claimed were caused by Microsoft's inadequate security practices. He requested that U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland investigate whether Microsoft's negligent practices violated federal law, and that FTC Chair Lina Khan investigate whether Microsoft's privacy and data security practices violated federal laws enforced by the Federal Trade Commission, including those prohibiting unfair and deceptive business practices.